Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me for another Cosmic Convo. This is my podcast where we talk a little bit about a little of everything. So, one of the messages that I wanted to share today is more of a personal experience that I had with a guide, and I thought it was just really cool knowledge and information, and I really wanted to share it. I shared it with one of my friends, and she seemed to react to it pretty well and think that it was a very cool thing that had happened. So, now I'm going to share it with you guys. To start off, so I was kind of on my patio, I was a little bit in a meditation and I had connected to a new guide that had come in for me. And at this time, I kind of don't want to say their name or who they are, but it was a very cool experience, very unexpected guide. And as I was having that connection, I definitely questioned, why are you coming in as a guide now? And the answer that I got was that they had actually always been around me. I just didn't really perceive them. Funny enough, their name, when they told me, sounded so familiar. I felt like I used their name all the time. I knew the name. I was familiar with the name, even though I knew that I really hadn't. So I did believe that they were always around me, and maybe I just wasn't perceiving it because it wasn't the right time. By me asking and questioning why this specific guide was coming in towards me at this time, what was the reason, they kind of took me through a little bit of an experience. And one of the pieces of that experience was actually around timelines and energy. And it's something that we all understand and know as far as, your words, your thoughts, your actions, all of those things really influence the energy that you're putting out into the universe. So you can look at that in terms of the law of attraction, how you attract it back, your timeline, your potential, creating the future based on where you're at in this present moment. But this was the first time that I got to see physical proof of that. And I'm a very evidential person. I really enjoy seeing physical evidence and proof. So it does make it a little hard to navigate the spiritual realm sometimes because I require and request all the time to have a sign, have proof. I want to see something physically that, backs up my experience spiritually. They might call that doubt, but I just call it being extra sure. So, in this experience, one of the things this guide showed me was I kind of looked out towards the sky, and I'll be as specific as I can with how I did it. So, maybe someone else can kind of recreate it and experience the same thing. I don't know if that's possible or if that's something that can happen, but we'll try it. So I looked out into the sky, and I live in, Arizona. So the sky was completely blue, no clouds, no nothing like that, bright and sunny. Previous occasions, I had a guide kind of have me do the same thing. And that's when I started to see more particles in the air. So I'm able to look out into just the sky, into the grass, wherever I gaze at. If it's sunny, the sunnier it is, the easier it is. But I'll see like little particles. So if you think of like protons, and they kind of like move in circles and ovals, and they're just these tiny little light balls that are just moving all over the place. And I think a lot of people are able to see that, and some people I think might call that static, but when you hone in on it, it actually is not static. There's a very clear picture that you can see, and it's these tiny tiny little particles that are just moving all over the place, and they look like tiny little light balls. So I immediately seen that. And this guide had me focus in on controlling my personal energy and kind of not just looking at the energy that I was seeing moving around me, but allowing myself to almost see it as a solid, to understand that these little particles are not separate, which is the way that I see them. Um, and there was something that happened when I did that where I almost started to see this like energetic warping in front of me. And this warping started to create almost a tunnel, the entrance of like a warped tunnel, um, where it looked like energy coming from me or coming around me was kind of going into this warped tunnel, and it pulsed. It was constantly moving. It was never still, and it didn't wind in a circle like how you might think a tunnel would. It was like pulsing energy that created this entrance, this warp kind of impression of the beginning stages of like what you would see as a tunnel, an energy tunnel, something like this. That's the first time I've ever seen anything like that. So it was pretty captivating. It was very cool. And when I asked and wanted to get more understanding of what am I looking at? What is this? The explanation that I got is exactly what I just said in the beginning. This is energy tunnels, and I don't think they're actually called that, but I will call them that. But these are energy tunnels that we are all connected to. They're these little tunnels like that are around us 24/7 all the time. Some people have multiple of these little tunnels attached to them, and it's not actually attached because there was distance between me and what I was seeing. But no matter where I moved my eyes or my body, it was always in front of my face when I would see it. And the explanation was that this is where that energy that we think, that we say, that we do, this is where it gets sucked in at, and then it determines the energy moving forward. So it's quite literally being able to control your timeline, control your future. This is the physical proof of manifesting and that it does work, but you have to be so cautious and aware of every thought, every action, every belief, every word that you speak, every thing that you write. It literally was, this is where all the energy that you put out goes. And when it goes into this warp tunnel thing, it's literally interacting with everyone else's energy, the universe's energy, the energy of animals, of nature, of plants, of spirits. It goes through this network almost, and it's bridging things. So it's almost like if you think of your brain and how we bridge pathways, and we have all these neuro connections, and some of them are really strong, some of them are really weak, but it's all like this electrical webbing system in our mind. That's literally the external experience. And they always say what happens within is also what happens outside. And I think this was the first time that I physically got to experience and see that we are living in a world energetically that quite literally resembles our brain, and how those electrical pathways create thoughts, patterns, habits, beliefs. The same thing happens outside of us with these like energy tunnels. The energy we put out, it connects to other energies that are similar. It builds bridges, it builds pathways. Some of those pathways are stronger than other ones. So you always have potential and opportunity of so many different realities in front of you. You have many timelines that you could end up going down, but everything you do in the present moment at this very time is what determines the strength of that potential future, or the direction of that potential future, because everything we do now is creating everything that's going to happen. And when I seen this, I just thought it was absolutely amazing. My mind was blown. These are things that people talk about all the time and that we know is true. And it's, easy to believe it and understand it because there's so much proof around it. But I think it's harder to live something that you can't have evidence of, that you can't really prove. And a lot of times when we don't know how to do this properly, manifesting and controlling our timelines, we never get that physical evidential proof that we need to be motivated to keep doing it. We got to get the result the first time. That way we know we can do it, and then we're more inspired to keep getting the same result by doing the same thing. So I just wanted to share this with you guys because I know even for me, I've gotten results, but sometimes it's hard to commit to everything you need to in order to make sure you're manifesting. And it's kind of like, is it real though? And it's like, yeah, no, it's real. It's truly real. There's an energy network always around us, and it's always creating pathways for the future, and it's determining what's happening to us, but we're always in control of that. Everything we do controls what happens later. So I hope you guys get something out of that. I'll follow up if there's enough interest and add more to this conversation. But thanks so much for listening, and please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye.